What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the call center geek himself, Tom Laird.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Advice from a Call Center Geek, the call center and contact center podcast, where we try to give you some actionable items to take back in your contact center, improve the overall quality, improve your agent experience, hopefully improve the customer experience as well. How's everybody doing? My name is Tom Laird. I'm the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing. Expivia is a 500, 600-seat contact center outsourcer located here in Northwestern and getting a little chilly here, moving into December, Erie, Pennsylvania. I hope everybody's doing well. We're winding 2020 down. I know for a lot of us that's a kind of a sigh of relief. But for this podcast, I wanted to talk about, and again, I don't like to get salesy, and you guys know I never sell anything about Expivia or really anything that really has to do with going outside the realm of trying to add value to you guys. But I've had a couple of my client services managers come to me and said, "Hey, will you do a podcast on some of the kind of misnomers or the falsehoods about outsourcing?" So, and I thought about it for a while. They've been coming to me for this for a while. So, I thought maybe this would be a good episode to do that, or a good time in the year to do that. We're kind of getting into 2021. You may be thinking about some things, down the road for next year. But I wanted to give, and this is kind of came from them, these are 7 falsehoods about outsourcing your contact center. So I guess these are kind of things that they come up with against, time and time again when a client is either thinking about outsourcing or, they're on a call with somebody who wanted more information, and these kind of always kind of creep up. Now, I'm going to do this, but we did do an episode on 10 reasons why you should not outsource your call center, right? So I'm trying to be fair and balanced, right? Both ways. Outsourcing is not for everyone. I think that there's a lot of huge benefits to it, obviously, for, what we're doing. But, it's not for everyone. It's for a specific kind of time in your organization's life, time in your service journey's life, so to speak, that, you might look to outsource to improve lots of different things from the quality of the calls to getting more analytic data to being able to save money. So there's a lot of different reasons for it. But let's talk about 7 ways that people kind of, think that you shouldn't, where really, while it's not for everyone, these should not be really the reasons that you're choosing not to outsource. All right, number 1, which is the, comes up the most, and it's the scariest one for someone who, or an organization or a group of, people looking to outsource that have never done it before, and they think that they're going to lose control, right? Now, losing control, to a certain extent is not bad. That's kind of why you're outsourcing, right? Because there's certain things you don't want to do, right? You don't want to be doing the day-to-day. You don't want to be monitoring every moment of every minute, right, of every day. You don't want to be looking at data analytics and, trying to organize that and do all that yourself, right? You don't want to do all that, right? That's why you're outsourcing, and somebody's going to do that for you, right? But there's certain things that you don't lose control about. Number 1 is, for any organization, any BPO, any outsourcer that is worth their grain of salt at all, right? You're going to get live dashboards, right? You're going to be able to log in, look at your stats, look at the agents, look at service level in real time, anywhere you want, from your cell phone, from a desktop, right? So looking at stats and having, before, like in the 90s, people were concerned because there were some call centers out there that would quote unquote fudge the numbers, right? That would just lie about service level, that would, lie about maybe sales or conversion or things like that. So when you got those reports the next day, you really couldn't trust them. Well, that's all gone now. And if any call center ever does that or you caught them, I mean, they should be fired instantly. But, with a lot of the organizations and a lot of BPOs, just like us, you're going to get live dashboards, live data, be able to live monitor your agents, right? That's another kind of piece. Anytime you want to monitor, you just literally double click on an agent and you can hear that customer and hear that agent and how they're interacting. The other, I think, piece of this with losing control is, making sure that you have a really good relationship with that client services manager or that whatever title that organization gives it, but basically the person that you're going to talk to, right? That's a really important relationship. And it's the number one reason really why, BPO or outsourcing relationships fail is a lack of communication. So, we really pride ourselves here. And I know a lot of other organizations pride themselves of really having really good client service management, right? So that you feel like, if you make a phone call, it's going to be answered. And if it's not, within 5 to 10 minutes, it's coming back at you. You're not going to feel like you're left out in the cold. So number one, losing control. I think, to a certain extent, it's good to do that, but you don't want to feel like, you're totally out in the weeds and you're at the mercy of a contact center. Number two, right? Everyone always feels that the way you do it internally is better and that quality is going to go down. This is, for me, the number one misnomer of all time. And I will take on any internal contact center and a champion challenger and we'll beat you. And the reason that we'll beat you is because this is what we do all day, every day, and we're really good at it. That's not just Expivia. That's a lot of, and I'm just going to kind of say the USA, American outsourcers, right? We monitor, we have analytics, we have QM software, we have analytics software with our QM. We have managers that have been doing this for decades who have been listening, monitoring, coaching. The type of agent, we know the culture that we want to hire. We know the culture that's going to fit your organization. We're going to hire specific agents for that, right? So the quality aspect that you think is going to go down. Now, if you go offshore or nearshore, I'm not going to tell you that the quality is going to go down, but there could be some voice things that you need to deal with. There's going to be probably a little bit of a longer learning curve than if you outsource directly to a U.S. provider. But we pretty much always see an increase in quality when it comes to CSAT, NPS, sentiment scores, when it's based on the internal center that just had it, because that's not really what they do, right? They make a widget, they provide a service, and then they do call center. Well, we make call center basically, right? This is what we do. It's not our secondary kind of task to do customer service. It's our primary. So, you really, I believe if you choose the right organization, your quality should always go up. And if your quality has gone down since you've outsourced, then you have the wrong provider. All right. Number three is everyone always thinks that they need to change their CRM or they need to change their data or they need to kind of evolve and change what they do so that it's easier or it's what the call center does. And that's not true at all, right? So we always say we have to understand the F word, right? And that's flexibility. So whatever, and this is pretty much standard for all of the outsourcers, again, not just an Expivia thing, we can integrate with anything, right? So whether you're using Salesforce, Zendesk, Zoho, whether you have your own proprietary system, whether you have a homegrown system, right? You don't have to worry about any of that. We can integrate with that with our phone system. Number two is if there's just a data need, if it's in the cloud, obviously we can log into it. We can set VPNs up. We can set secure things up from a connection standpoint so that we can access if you're not, cloud facing. So don't think you need to change all that. It's up to the call center outsourcer to, be flexible and to move into a position where, we can utilize what you already have, right? And if we want to make, additions to it and we want to make improvements to it, that's one thing, but you will never have to, or you should never have to change your data source, change what CRM you use, or have it not be able to be integrated. That's another thing too. A call center, well, yeah, we can use that, but they don't integrate them. They should all be able to be integrated, through an omni-channel platform. All right. Number 4, we hear this all the time, is that my program's just too complex to outsource, right? It's so hard and difficult. And everybody thinks that because, right, they're just kind of narrow-minded and focused on their world, right? And they think their world is difficult, where, we have, and again, I'm just as an example here, we've worked for large financial services organizations with 3 or 4 different types of screens, based on what a customer says, different integrations, different VPN setups, trainings of 6 to 8 weeks, right? So your program is not that difficult, right? So if you think it is, I'm telling you right now, you need to go talk to a really good outsourcer, because I guarantee we have seen it. That company has seen something that is much more difficult. We're used to those things, right? If you're a high-end call center, you're used to working with more difficult, more complex clients with different types of data sources, different screens, different ways to train agents, lots of different ways that calls could come in and how they're handled. So again, I'm sure that you think that, but trust me, it's not too complex for a real high-end outsourcer. I can tell you right now that if let me just take 10. If we took 10 of our clients, at least 8 of them, when they came to us, have said that we don't think we can outsource because our program is so complex, and we end up having those guys for years. So again, please don't think that. Don't let that be a hurdle for you to say, what, we cannot outsource. Number 5, I've heard outsourcing, the turnover is so high. There's going to be just, constant changes of agents to our program. We don't want to pay for all that training. So let me just tell you this. Number 1 is, if you're choosing the right outsourcer, you should have less turnover than you have in your internal call center. Number 2, you should never ever pay for attrition training, right? So again, you should have at least 80 to 90% of your reps year over year, right, with a 10 to 15, maybe 20% turnover on your program. And second of all, you should never pay for attrition training. So that's the cool thing about outsourcing, right? You pay for that initial train to get you to whatever, that 50, 60, 70, 80, 10, 100, whatever the number is, reps, right? You pay for that. And then if the call center has 100 and they lose 5 in a year or 10 in a year, they need to replace them, then the call center has to pay for that. So again, it incents us to get the right people on your program, which is something that sometimes you don't have to do internally. So again, don't think that through. And again, it is choosing the right call center, because are there contact centers with extremely high turnover? Yep. So you need to ask specific questions like, what are the reps on my program being paid? What is your overall turnover? Those are important questions. But you're going to get a really good feel, for the organization and being in talking to the people on what that culture is. If it's like us, I think we're very heavy on the rep, right? Making the rep experience fun. And I think, any of the podcasts, I'm giving you kind of my full playbook, right? So culture is important. Having fun is important. Employee engagement's important. So find out what the gist of what makes that contact center go. And I think that'll tell a lot with your turnover, but it should not be higher than what you're having in your internal center. Number 6 is security, which is legitimate, right? Because you need to make sure that even if you have a customer service program that doesn't deal with any credit card or financial information, let's just say, you only want password resets and people to be able to call in and check on the status of a package, right? I would still say that the call center that you want to work with needs to be PCI compliant, right? So, and it goes more to the overall culture of the contact center than it does your specific need for the program. So no matter what, security should be at the, utmost, especially now with at home. Ask the call centers, how they're doing security at home. What are some of the things that they've kind of changed or taken into account now that people are at home? But I will tell you, most USA contact centers from a security standpoint it's like Fort Knox, right? So it's making sure that you have badges on, making sure that there's, biometric locks on the doors, clean desk policies. All the computers are locked down. You're probably definitely more safe with a PCI compliant BPO than you are internally, because again, we can't make one mistake, right? Now, nobody can make a mistake, but I mean, we will lose the entire business, right, if we make one mistake. So I think it's a fallacy to say that, security at an outsourcer is lower. And if you're choosing a high-end BPO, it's not. It's going to be more than what you have internally, I guarantee. All right, number 7, and this is something that is kind of going away, but it's still out there, especially if we have, kind of a more old school client, that the cloud is not dependable, right? That, all these BPOs, and so many of us are now, and it's the vast majority are in the cloud, whether it's an InContact or a TalkDesk or a Five9 or a Genesys or, whatever we're using, it is that it's not reliable, that we're down all the time. And again, it's not true. I mean, the level of nines, right, of 99.999, it's crazy how much uptime we have. And, it's if you would have said this to me 5 or 6 years ago, yeah, I think it probably was a concern with uptime and making sure that, we were on a stable platform. But again, you guys know I'm on InContact. We're really never down, ever. I'm knocking on wood. But I think that, that's going away, but we still hear it, especially, with clients that have dealt with the old school Avaya systems and, those type of PBX, the Mitels and that world where, it was secure and it was up and everything was a direct connection. But, again, as long as your internet's good, and our internet's great, and if you're a BPO, your internet is fully redundant, 2 or 3 different sources coming in. It's all fiber. It's pretty solid. So again, that's kind of what I got, guys. I think, it's important to think through what's real and what's not if you're looking to outsource. Don't live in your fears. Talk to the organizations that you think are important, or that are a good fit for what you would like to outsource. Drill down on them, ask them a ton of questions, send out an RFP. You should feel comfortable with the decision that you're making. Come up with as many questions and things as you possibly can. If you ever need any help with this and you want to send something out and you want me to look at it, I'm more than happy to do that. Anything I can help you guys with, making good decisions with your contact center is kind of what I would love to be able to do, and hopefully some of the value that I add. So again, thank you guys very much. I had my birthday last Friday, so I'm kind of getting in the groove, kind of took the day off as well, hung out with the fam. We did some bowling, probably shouldn't have with COVID, but my kids wanted to kind of hang out a little bit. So it was a good time over the weekend. But I will talk to you guys later this week. We're going to have an announcement on something that is Expivia and our new website and some of the things that we're going to have available for listeners here that we're doing on the website that I'm kind of excited with. So again, I'll have probably a mini podcast, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. That's more of an announcement later this week. But I'm excited for you guys to kind of check out what we've done with the new website. And hopefully, we're hoping next week that we're able to kind of talk about that and get live with it. So again, thanks guys. And I will talk to you guys soon.